So today is going to be a good day. It's going to be an awesome day. And I, for one, have been truly looking forward to this particular live. For those of you that are just not joining, if this is your first time here, welcome. And for those of you that are returning, welcome back. I know we didn't have a live during the previous episode. It was a pre-recorded show. But that was in order for everybody to be able to celebrate Mother's Day. So today we're back live. And I really think I enjoy my lives better than my pre-record, to be honest. Because I like the interaction. So make sure y'all stay tuned and get involved with the interaction, because this is going to be awesome. While the production team sets everything up on their end, we'll give a few minutes for people to start coming in, and I'll introduce myself, and our guest will introduce herself, and we will get going. So welcome, Facebook. Remember, those of you that are coming in, I cannot see who you are. I can only see that you're there. So it will show me the number of viewers, but it won't show me who you are unless you are dropping your name, your comments, or whomever or whatever. So I encourage you guys to make sure that you, as you come in, are dropping where you're from. Any social influencer and social engagement that you want us to shout out, please make sure you're including that information too, and we'll be sure to shout those things out. For those of you that are new here, my name is Tiffany. I am a social worker by trade. I've worked in social services far beyond I would like to give a year to. But over time, as a social worker, I've just have grown to have so much to give. And in having so much to give, I've evolved as a social worker, as a woman, as a professional. And in my time, I have developed this platform, Tiff Talks. And it's the opportunity for us to tackle those hard topics, social issues that are impacting our community on a larger platform, beyond what we're talking about amongst our friends, beyond what we're talking about at happy hour, beyond what we're talking about at the kitchen table, to bring more awareness to topics, but also to bring education and insight as well. So we talk about everything here, from mental health to breaking generational curse to gun violence to bullying in our schools. And I think during the month of May on through June, I've been like really big on manifestation, and I think that's what have brought me into this place of wanting to talk about change and evolution. And then of course today to talk about power moves. And this is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart because I'm in a place of making moves. But I'm also interested to be amongst people, amongst a group who has been through this evolution and who's continuing to go through it. So today we're going to be talking power moves, and I am excited to jump right into it. So, during our last Tiff Talks, if you didn't get a chance to tune in, we talked with Tenique about change versus evolution. And we had a very candid conversation of how there actually isn't any evolution without change. But in the process of evolution, in the process of change, that you're making sure that you're building a relationship or building relationships and reputation that is ingrained with respect. So, honestly, I think for me, Tenique is one of the only like female business owners that I've known from like the very beginning. And this is kind of early on before our era of business owners. And this is beyond like a social media post. So one thing I'm sure that a lot of you may not be aware of is her innate sense of business. Like when you talk about force of nature, powerhouse, is her. And she is like humble, and she is not one to put it out there. So today we're going to be pushing her to engage in this conversation and to really share with you guys this information. Because one thing that I can say that I love about Tenique as a person is she is so humble. And if you don't ask, if you don't have this relationship with her, then you wouldn't know her success or her triumph. And today we're going to talk about those things. So there'll probably be some tears shared because I admire this woman, not just as a woman, but as a business owner. And she probably going to cry too. So y'all just come along for the ride. And in the midst of that, we'll talk about power moves. So I'm going to let her introduce herself and we'll jump right into it.
I'm Tenique G, and I'm very thankful for Tiffany having me back. If you don't follow, please go and follow this beautiful young lady. She is absolutely amazing. I'm the owner of the G Shop Custom Cakes, Occasions by Blush, and Green Life Growers. Go follow me everywhere you can follow me, and if you need anything, you can even inbox me personally. My Instagram is at Tenique the Boss, and that's exactly what I am. So.
Yep. All right. Now, if you notice, I already have my journal in my hand because I know she's going to say something that I'm going to want to write down. And I already got my blue pen so I can have it written down and be able to refer back to it. I'm encouraging you guys to do the same. And that's because it's going to be some gems dropped, and I want to make sure that you catch them while I'm catching them as well. But we also want to make sure that you are engaging in the conversation. So making sure that you have any questions or comments, any insight that you want to share, that you are dropping it in the comment section below. And make sure that you use the hashtag #KeepTalkingPowerMoves. So, as I mentioned, for me, you are one of like the very first entrepreneurs that I can say that I personally know and that I've seen the journey. And I know that as a woman, as a person, you've evolved, and as a business owner, you've evolved as well. Can you share with us what led you into this pathway of being an employer versus an employee, and what inspired you to become a business owner?
Okay, so it was not my plan.
Okay.
My plan was to be a nurse. I wanted to be a nurse because my mom said that's kind of something I needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
I never had any direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked. I got a job at the hospital. I thought I was doing good. I was making at that time, maybe $15 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell me shit about my $15 an hour. I had my little car, I had everything going. And then it was okay, life starts to change. I had my daughter. Well, that wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept working, but while I was working, I was praying. God, you got to tell me something. You got to show me something. So I stayed in the same spot, and I started to see people around me get older. And I'm like, well, shit, I don't want to be like such and such. They're 60 still pushing the same old stuff around. So fast forward a little bit, still working same position, got a little raise. I got married. Okay. Life happened, had some more kids, and I would literally cry on my way to work. Wow. I would cry, making it right on Holcomb. I'm in tears because I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of people telling me what to do. Yeah. I'm so much fucking better than you.
Yes.
So I was asked to make a cake. Okay. I don't make cakes. I couldn't boil water. I couldn't tell you when the egg was done. None of that. That just was not my thing. But somebody asked me to make a cake. So thank God my husband knew how to bake. I give him a lot of credit. Nobody sees him, they see me. But so we made this cake. I was like, okay, cool. Then one of my friends asked me to make her daughter's cake. And that's when I knew, okay, you have a little knack in this. Right. You're pretty good at this. So I started doing that, and all the while I'm still going to work, still working full time, still crying on my way to work. And I sat on a window ledge one day on my break, and I had a full-on talk with God. And I'm like, something gotta shake. Yeah. This ain't enough. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm not the type of person to do bad. If you're doing bad, I'm doing bad. We're gonna figure some shit out. So I would always bring people with me, but I'm like, something ain't right. So I kept getting cake orders, but I was still going to work. I wasn't listening to what he was telling me. I never would hear him. So fast forward now, that was 2004 or 5, when 2017. I was then making more money Friday, Saturday, and Sunday making cakes than my job every 2 weeks. And again, I still didn't hear God. I was still tripping, still crying, going to work. So I sat back on that ledge. Wow. And I was pregnant. They was giving me hell. I went on maternity leave. I got laid off. It was about a month after I had my son, I got laid off. My best friend called me. He said, Tenique, you was laid off. Not my boss, not my supervisor, not my manager, one of my good friends at work. You've been laid off. What the fuck I'm gonna do? Now I'm mad at God.
Yeah.
I'm angry because I'm like, you took my job. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
But not being thankful for
the
blessing.
Like the side blessing you got going on.
He was walking me through my purpose.
Yeah.
The whole point. So I didn't have to quit.
Yeah.
I took my package.
Yeah.
I still was able to take care of my family. I never missed a beat. He connected every dot the whole way. I took that money. Then I had my unemployment, and I opened the first door to my business.
Wow.
And when I tell you it was nothing but God, I screamed and hollered because I saw like the greatness that he gave that to me.
Right.
Like
right.
I didn't know I had that. So it was like God's master plan. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie. That was nothing but a grand design.
See, I knew that you'd been in healthcare, but I didn't know to the extent of everything. And I would have to say, when it comes to career building and career connection, I feel that my career and my life has been, like you said, God's design. It's really been something that's built up off each other. I decided to go to college because that's what I was supposed to do, which a lot of people do. And I stayed local, and I was fortunate enough to be able to like graduate with my my undergrad and be able to start working within a month after walking across the stage. And I was still living at home, and I had my daughter and everything. And probably like my second job, I really became connected with the social services field, and I was working under a therapist that I really just kind of grew to adore. And she would always say, Tiffany, you should be doing more. It's more that you're giving of yourself than you're getting paid to do. So she's really the one that pushed me to want to advance my career. Like, I would have never thought that I would have gone back to school after 4 years, number one, and then never would have thought that I would have been in a position to want to seek out my licensure or even get to the point that I'm in now. When I went to school, my undergrad is in criminal justice. And a lot of people would always say, oh, you're not strong enough to work in the criminal justice field. You got to work in the prisons, and you got to do this and you got to do that. And I was just like, job security. It's going to always be criminals. That means it's going to always be a criminal justice system. That means I always have a job. Right. And that was my job security. But working there and being put in a position where I saw what social services was from a different aspect is really what prompted me to go back into get my master's and then also get my licensure. And I ended up getting a job in the hospital setting. And I would have never thought that I would have enjoyed it, but I would have never truly thought that I would have flourished. Mm-hmm. And I have. And I mean, 5 years later, I look back from the time that I sat and did my interview to the time and space that I'm in now, and I know it's been nothing but God that's strategically put me in places and have allowed me to connect with people who have advanced me. And I agree. It's been God's plan for my life, and being at a place that where I'm truly able to build, it's brought me to this point. For me, I really kind of truly feel that you can never really understand what your purpose is until you know your self-worth. Mm-hmm. And for me, when it comes down to self-worth, it's all about being in a position where you have that self-reflection and that self-discovery. And I will never forget, and I actually posted this earlier today, because it popped up on my timeline. So about 3 years ago to this day, I got a call from a district attorney at the Harris County courts. And to this day, I promise I do not know how this person ran across my telephone number, how they ran across my business card. I do not know. But they called my desk. It rung on my desk, and they asked to speak to me. And they were telling me about an inmate that was going to be released, and that I was the person that they was told to connect with. And in the process, I kid you not, within 10 minutes, I had came up with a full discharge plan for this person. Didn't know this person from Adam, Eve, Green, or Steve, but had connected the dots, put resources together, and gave them my personal context of who they needed to call. And it was like, if I'm doing this at my job, helping somebody that's, way higher up than I, what am I doing with myself? I should really be doing more with myself. And that's what prompted me to see that I had more to give outside of my 9 to 5. And I dabbled in a couple of things. I even co-partner with some other individuals to focus on respiratory care in the city of Houston and a nonprofit. And I tried it. It wasn't for me. But it put me in a position where I saw that I had more to give and I needed to have something for myself. And here we are a year and some change later, and this is Tiff Talks. But one thing that I've understood in my career and in my evolution is that there are power ups and power downs. And in those power ups and power downs is some power moves, whether they be up or down, that are most rewarding. So what power move would you say has been most rewarding in your career?
I don't discredit any moves that I've made because they all kind of put me where I am now. But the best move I made was joining forces with my business partner and opening up Occasion by Bush. It challenged me because I was a loner. Like everything I did, I wanted to kind of do it by myself. Because trust issues, we'll talk about that later. But this woman, I saw like great potential in her. And just like me, I knew like if we got together, we would be like a force to be reckoned with. Yeah. And so when I met her and we opened that, it was like the best move I've ever made was opening that business. Wow. Yeah. Blood, sweat, tears, I'll do it all over again. Wow. Yeah. And we have no debt.
Yes. Yes.
All these people talking about credit, and you have to go. Fuck that. You don't have to go into debt. Wow. Or you don't have to get credit to open business.
Yes.
No. You just gotta use your 2 hands. You gotta work. Yes. I'm like, people say work smarter, not harder. That's cool, but I'm the opposite. I'm gonna work harder because it takes less money to do that. Yeah. And that way I can reap all the benefits later. Yes. Versus paying out and now you indebted to everybody. That's stupid to me.
That's true.
So be careful who y'all be listening to about this debt and credit and that shit like that. Because some people don't know what the fuck they be talking about.
That's true though. Being able to twist that around instead of not saying, and I want to make it clear, she didn't say that you shouldn't work smarter, not harder. Right. What she said is you should work harder. And then at the end, you'll be smarter. That's what I got from it. Exactly. Because if you going into business and you are working hard and putting in that blood, sweat, and tears, at the end of the day, when it's time to sit back and reap the benefits, it's all yours. It's all coming to you. And that's the truth. Like, you want to be at a place, and I want to be at a place in my business and my career, in life, where it's about being not only comfortable but being stable. You understand what I'm saying? And if you coming in the door and you putting in putting it up front, then on the back end it's all yours to reap. Yeah. So that's if y'all didn't get that, y'all better rewind it back. Y'all better rewind it back and get it because it was there and I got it. And another thing that you said was when you went into this business, it was something that challenged you. Yes. And I've always been a type of person where I struggle with being stagnated. Like, my husband is like, Tiffany, you too busy. And it's not that I'm too busy. It's not that I have my hands in too many pots. I think it's that I'm up for a challenge. I want to be challenged because when I'm challenged, I grow. Right. And for me, all of my power moves, from having a kid to going into business to upgrading my licensure to being in, like, every power move that I made have come on the footstool of a challenge. And I will never forget, in the process of trying to develop this respite care system here in the city of Houston, my business partner challenged me. And to her, I think it was kind of, she was an older lady, and to her I kind of think it was more so like a joke type thing. But to me, I didn't take it like that. And I'm not like the most competitive person. Like, I'm fine with working hard and getting my own and doing what I need to do for myself. But the minute that you challenge me and put it out there like it's something that I can't do, it's like I got something to prove to you. And that is when I got to the point where it was like, I need something for myself. Like, I'm fine with working in a collaborative effort. I'm fine with working with people, but I needed something that was mine because I knew that I would value it more if it was my own baby. So for me, my power moves have come on the footstool of challenges. And, you know, during the last Tiff Talks, we kind of discussed this love versus like type thing and this respect and reputation thing. And, you know, I've shared throughout my evolution that I'm okay with not being liked and sometimes not even being loved. I mean, I think it comes along with the process, but for me, I would rather be respected. And I came across a meme maybe a couple of weeks ago, and it said, if a person like you, then they'll listen to you. But if a person respects you, they'll do business with you. And when I think about that, coming from like humble beginnings like yourself, how would you say that, you know, trust have leveraged your business? You trust in yourself, you trust in others. How has that trust leveraged your business?
I learned about trust very early in business. I actually went into business. Many people don't know, G-Shop used to be a partnership between me and one very, very dear to me.
Okay.
It got into the point to where this person was so dear, I saw no wrong. Because I trusted them just that much. They would never do anything. They would never mess over me. And then I noticed I would be the one to work a little bit harder. They would have an excuse, which would be valid, but I don't make excuses. Like, if you know me, I don't make excuses.
Right.
Like, it's just yes or no, or it is what it is. Like, you're just gonna kind of get that. But they had excuses, and we severed the ties, and I gave up on the G-Shop. And so I was still good at making cakes. So something kept telling me, keep going. But that was my first heartbreak in business. So that kind of molded me to where you cannot be so loving and trusting. And then I don't do business with family. I don't care. I'd rather give it to you than you come sit with me and do business together, because then it don't work.
Wow.
So if you my family, I love you, but no, can't do business with you. But yeah, that put me to where I am, and then you have to learn to trust yourself. I guess I didn't trust myself at all because I allowed those things to happen. People take advantage of you.
Yeah.
You give way too much.
Yeah.
So I got fucked over quite a bit. So yeah, that has really paved where I am until, like I said, I met my business partner.
Right.
And she showed me like what love is in a business aspect. Like, you have to be able to trust whomever you're doing business with. If you cannot trust them, if it's like a shadow of a doubt, let it go. Yeah. No, because they have to have your best interest at heart. Right. And it's not just you, it's your family. Yeah. Your kid, like everything, y'all are meant together like this. Yeah. So that's how it's definitely molded me 100%.
Wow.
Trust. Yeah.
So I've never kind of been, and I'm a fairly new business owner. I've been fortunate enough, I guess I can say, to never have had a bad business deal thus far. I'm not looking for them. I'm not looking for them. I promise. I'm not looking for them. I promise. And it's because, like you said, when you talk about trust, and when I think about trust leveraging my business to the point that I am at this point, I have been fortunate enough to be able to share my business with people that I do life with. So their investment in me, their investment in Tiff Talks is a part of their life as well, because we do life together. I've always, even people that I've had on the show, I've somehow had some sort of linkage, connection, relationship with. And I've been fortunate enough because in my profession, I attend different events. And attend the different events, you network and you talk to different people, and they talk about what they're doing, and you talk about what you're doing. And sometimes you just connect with people. And I will have to say, God has given me and my children a very good sense of being able to read people. So I'm the type of person, like, if I fool with you, I fool with you. If I don't fool with you, it's something about you, not something about me. And I say that not to be cocky or anything like that, just something that I may pick up on in your nature that it just doesn't sit well with me, if that makes sense. So for me, like I said, I have been fortunate enough to not have had that experience. I know it's gonna come at one point in time in life, but I hope it don't come. Jesus, please don't let it go.
I hope it don't come.
But that's because I've been fortunate enough to be able to entrust my vision to people that I trust and to people that I know that will do right by me. Right. Because not only do they have a buy-in into me, but I have a buy-in into them. And ultimately, we all have a buy-in into this business. Now, I'm not at a point where I can so much compensate as much as I would like to, but I'm kind of like you. Like, I want to do the hard work at the beginning. So when it's time to sit at the table and we eat, we all eating. And we all reaping the hard work that we've put in. And I feel that that's what my production team, my business partner, my children, my husband, that's why they're here. And that's why we work together to get it done. You may see me and you may not see them as much, but they put just as much time and energy into what we do and what we produce on a daily basis, I would have to say. When it comes down to connections and like cultural ties, for me, another thing that I'm fortunate enough to have is be able to have kind of like the same core group of friends from a child. I mean, I met my best friend when we was in church school, like Sunday school, you know. Excuse me, sorry y'all.
She got choked up in spirit.
I told you we was gonna be crying. So, like I said, I met my best friend when we was in Sunday school, and my core group of friends I met when we were in middle school. So I've been fortunate enough to have the same group of people. So I don't mind doing life with them or collaborating with them. How do you feel collaborations has wavered on your power moves?
You can't make any power moves by yourself. Like you were saying about the team that you see behind you. There's a team I have behind me, but they're like my kids and my husband. Mm-hmm. That's my team. Without them, you can't do anything like at all. And it's also the people you choose to collaborate with, and that's like a business. You got to be very selective,
right?
Because those people are a reflection of you. So if you're collaborating just with someone that you see who's doing great on social media, you need to know a little bit about their personal life. Because everybody can be winning on social media. It don't take much to go stand next to somebody else's car or to go get some flashy jewelry or whatever to make it seem like it. But you have to. I want to know your personal credit. I want to know how you are as a person, how trustworthy you are. I want to talk to some people who know you, because if too many people got too many bad things to say about you, I can't fool with you, because I'm going to fight you. And that's just the kind of person I am. I'm serious when it comes to business, because this is my livelihood at the end of the day.
Wow, I'm going to fight you? Did y'all hear that say that?
I mean, yeah, I would. I'm the person that I'm past the we're friends, let's talk. No, because once I sign those papers with you, we're business partners. Right. I can sue you. Right. And people need to fully understand it's not jokes and games. Right. So when you collaborate with somebody, make sure their foundation is stable. Yeah. Because if it's not, the whole infrastructure gonna crumble. Oh, yeah. It's literally going to drag you in everything you do. Yeah. It's gonna drag you down.
And you can't build nothing on quicksand. No. And that's what my mom would say. You can't build nothing on quicksand.
And people can talk a good game. Yeah. They can, like you said, you can read people. There's people who have that, but they use it in the other way. Wow. Yeah. So be careful with that.
I recall, and when you talk about not being able to do business with people and not being able to collaborate with people, I recall a close friend of mine, and this is like a close friend that really kind of got me back into going to church on a regular basis. So we were, we had a really good kind of intimate friendship relationship. But in that, I recall her making a statement that I can't remember exactly what she said, but it kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. But only to the point where she made a statement in that she was saying she has certain friends for certain things. Yeah. And for me, that's kind of like, I didn't necessarily understand it, but like certain friends for certain things was like, I didn't understand it because I didn't have that experience. For me, I would say a large number of my friends are either business owners or have engaged in some sort of business venture. And in that, one thing that I appreciate about our friendships is that not only do we do life together, not only do we share in life events together, but we invest in each other. So, for instance, if I need my hair braided, I'm going to my friend who braids hair, and I'm paying what she tells me I need to pay. When it was time for my last baby to go to school, one of my close friends own a child care center. He's going to her school, and I'm paying what she tells me that I need to pay, because I trust her enough to make sure not only is she going to take care of my baby, not only is this person going to take care of my hair, but also I trust them, their vision and their dream enough to invest in it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, those are the same people that when it comes down to it, they on my live on a consistent basis. When we're having events, they're present. They not telling me, can I get a side deal for an event I gotta pay to? Like, we invest in each other because we want to see each other win. And that's not the same in every peer group. That's not the same amongst every family. And I understand that. But I think for me, I've been fortunate enough to have that experience, that I just hope that I never have to have the opposite of that, you know?
Yeah, I've experienced the opposite. I actually had friends to help me and then go and start the same exact business behind my back. And it's just kind of like, you see me fucking struggling.
Wow.
Like, we could have came together and, you know, been like that much better. But those friends, they're no longer doing the business that they set out. And to me, I can't no more after that. So, yeah. I hope you don't experience that. And when you do, shut it down. Shut it down.
Now, I touched on it a little bit just a minute ago, but when it comes down to, like I said, having competitive spirits or having competition, and I truly believe, like, I can't do life alone. I believe that business and business ventures work best when there's a collaborative effort with the right people. But I also feel in this world that we live in, society sometimes pins us against each other. We are kind of like crabs in a bucket, kind of like I want mine, you don't necessarily have to get yours, but I'm gonna get mine type thing. So what is your take on competitive spirits?
I love competition.
Really?
Absolutely. Because you can never get, if you have nobody or nothing to compare yourself to, then how do you know what it'll take to get to the next level? You have to be in competition somewhere in life. Like, I wanna be glorified. Like, I won. I did that. That's me. Like, you can have an humble spirit and still be you can still be thankful. But there's a lot of people I see competing with me, but I'm never gonna compete with anybody. The only person I'm in competition with is myself.
I like that.
And that's when you think you're competing with me, I'm just sitting there laughing at you, because like I said, the only person is like my younger self, because I know everything about this girl already. Like, I know her flaws. Like, I know how to win against this bitch, because it's me.
I like that.
So, like, if I can't compete against myself, then you can just hang it up. I already won. But
I like that.
Yeah, that's me. I'm my own competition.
I like that.
Yeah.
I don't for me, when it comes down to competitive spirits or to competition, my biggest competitor, like you said, is myself. And I think the only person that I should be competing with is me. And that is to be at a place where I am better than I was yesterday, where my last quarter is better than it was the quarter before and the year before. So that's how I address competition. I feel that as not only a society, but as a generation, and how we live, and maybe just society's influences on us, that we are put in a position to be crab in a bucket. And I think it's more so our culture, our generation, and our ethnicity. Because when you look at Filipinos, when you look at Latinos, when you look at Chinese and Vietnamese, when you look at all these other cultures, these people they're in it as a family. They're in it to win as a group. you see, I remember, it has to have been maybe a year or so ago, listening to an interview on The Breakfast Club. And there was a Filipino woman talking about how her and her siblings were raised to a point where they all lived in the same house with their mother and father. Even though they'd gotten married, had children, they'd all lived in the same house until everyone in their house could afford the same lifestyle. Yes, yeah. And that's truth. We raised like, oh, when our kids turn 18, they got to go on about their way and do what they need to do, whatever. They got to have their own. Yeah. But being in that position, I don't think people see that if you are doing this as a community, then everybody wins. So that's my take on it.
But how often does that happen?
Not in our culture. I mean, my mom didn't put me out at 18. At this point, in all honesty, if I could still live at home and bring my family with me, I would. And I don't think my mom would have a problem with it. It's just not enough space, if that makes sense. But for me, I think just in this day and age, I mean, in this generation, we're just pinned against each other. It's truly a crab in a bucket. When if we all could live in a time, live in a place where we understood that it's enough for everybody, because everybody brings something to the table. I mean, I'm a podcaster, but I know so many other podcasters, and we all either address different things, we have a different presentation, we have something different about ourselves, and we promote each other. I mean, one of my closest friends is a podcaster, and I promote her just as much as she promotes me. My father-in-law is a podcaster, and he promotes me just as much as I promote him. So I think if we got to a point as a nation, as a generation, that we understood that it's enough for everybody to eat and we can just help each other, we could get back to that point where we have the Black Wall Street. Right. But if we don't ever do that, we will all just truly be fighting against each other. Yeah. So that's my take on it. So another question that as I was writing this outline that led me to kind of just get my wheels to turning was society's role in self-gratification. How do you feel society's role plays into self-gratification? And what effects have self-gratification wavered or played into your own individual power moves?
Society has a huge hand in self-serving. And don't fight me, please. I scoot over, but I'm just gonna say it. When you put the TV on, and I'm just gonna say churches and the pastor. There's pastors that make it seem like it's great, just everything is great, and they talk about nothing but money. And there's pastors here in Houston that are very self-serving. They got their helicopters, and you got to pay them $50,000 just to come out. What kind of shit is that? But that's the light you're being. So here you got my child now sitting in church. Oh, I want to be glorified like that. I'm in church. Wow. And they're teaching you that. So yeah, it has a huge hand in it. But there's no way you can make it without, having somebody else. You have to be able to glorify, like you did earlier, your team. You have to be able to put them in the limelight with you, because if they walk away today, you fucked. Yeah. You trying to figure out what's going on. Right. So yeah, society has made it to where it looks like it's okay to be 100% glorified, but it's really, really not. It's like that demon spirit that's on you. It's not a good way to be. There go their foundation again. That's the foundation again. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to self-gratification, I really think about the point that if you as a person are only in it for yourself, then you have nothing of yourself to give. So you live a life of that in mind, and ultimately your life becomes one that's tarnished. If you're living for yourself and don't have anything to share with anyone else, then you don't have a life to share with anyone else. You don't have products of your life to share with anyone else. And for me, I got into the service that I'm in because I wanted to be able to help people. But I've grown to be the professional that I am because I've seen that more of myself that I could give to help. And I think it's something that I saw just as a child. Like, I saw my mom work in social services. I saw my dad, even as a mechanic. He was like the neighborhood mechanic. So if you came by and, you didn't have everything to put on your car that week to get, fixed, but he knew you had a family and he knew you had kids, then he would fix your car. And, you on a payment plan, you come back and, you pay every couple of weeks. But it was just something that he, as a business owner, that he did to help other people. And I think if we use our platforms to help other people, and I'm not saying platform in that you have to be on this platform, like you have to have 1 million followers, or you have to have, this, you have to be a superstar or a celebrity. No, I'm not saying that. Any platform. If you have 2 followers and you're on that platform to be able to share with other people what you have to give, then you are sharing, and you're not doing something that's for your own self-gratification, then you're having something to give of yourself. And ultimately, that's something worth living. So that's kind of like my take on it. When it comes down to business, one thing that I found very interesting in this pandemic is we were all put in a position where we had to sit down and had to seek out resources, if that makes sense. So one of my close friends, and I didn't know this until I was like, girl, my nails is jacked up. I cannot live my life like this. And I just couldn't live my life like this. So I was like, I see you getting your nails done. Who are you going to get your nails done to? And she was going to an African-American nail tech. And it's kind of like when you get your hair done, when you get your nails done, you kind of build that relationship. Mm-hmm. So I've been going to her since the pandemic. And I'm the type of person that I'm like, what got you into this field? Like, what made you seek this out? And she was sharing with me that she had gotten to the point that she was spending so much money as a consumer. She was like, I'm spending so much money as a consumer, but I'm spending money as a consumer, but I'm not gaining nothing as a consumer. Mm-hmm. So that put her in a position where she was like, she wanted to have something for herself to give back. So she was like, hey, you can come to me or you can go to anyone else, but when you come to me, I'm going to teach you on what you should be looking for. So not only is she the type of person that wants to be able to do nails, but she wants to be able to educate and bring stuff to the community. And one thing that really got me to like her is she was saying she wants to open all of her nail salons in communities that she's grown up in. So she grew up in a third ward area. She wanted to open a nail salon in a third ward area. And she said she wanted her nail techs to buy into the business. She wanted them to buy into the business so that if at whatever point that they felt that they could manage it on their own, that she would sell it to them for them to have something for themselves. And I'm like, I want to invest in your dream because you investing in somebody else. And for me, I think we see so much of being a consumer and paying out. We don't see what benefits we'll get if we reap those things. Right. So for me, I think when it comes down to self-gratification, if we as a people were a bit more in tune in what the benefit of what reaping, not what reaping for self, but what reaping for our culture, we'll have more and we'll give more of ourselves. Right. All right. So my last question is big. And it's big. Well, my second to last question is big. And it's big because when I thought about self-gratification, I also thought about gratitude. And for me, those are two very, very, very opposite polars and things that I kind of assess in people because I'm a person that has so much gratitude. I think I measure people's gratitude just off an unconscious thing that I see within myself because I want to make sure, like you said, that your heart is in the right place in all that you do. So my question is, what are your thoughts of gratitude versus gratification as it relates to power moves?
Okay, so I have to dumb this down for myself because I was kind of both. Mm-hmm. So for me, this is how I broke it down. So it's kind of like having what you want versus wanting what you have. So having what you want is all about feeding the gratification. So what gratification kind of does, it produces like a happy. It's happy. I feel good. It's what makes me feel good. So it's like a temporary feeling of satisfaction. So my example would be, if you want a new car. For me, I want a Porsche. I want it because it's pretty, right? Yeah. It's gonna make me feel good. So I'm gonna get my Porsche, and I have this temporary feeling of happiness. So once that feeling fades, now I want something else. So you're constantly looking for and I call them demons. So you're constantly feeling that. You're looking to replace that desire every time it fades away. Right? So the gratification is temporary. Yeah. I had that. It's not a great feeling. It's not a great feeling. And then now you have wanting what you have, which is gratitude. It's having an appreciation of all the things, big or little, that kind of goes on in life. So I started to embrace those special moments. Once my mom was diagnosed with dementia, that changed me on the inside, because I'm like, here's a woman who was full of gratification, and she never got to enjoy anything, and now she can't enjoy anything. So you have to be appreciative of those moments. So I would say gratitude. Definitely gratitude. It's a longer feeling. It's a feeling of happiness, like forever.
It's long lasting.
It is definitely long lasting.
Definitely, I agree with that. Like I definitely want to have gratitude over gratification. And for me, like, you would be surprised how many people jump in my DM after, like, we've gone live and people have had the opportunity to watch and play back. People that have rebuttals, people that are in agreement, people that are just happy for the awareness that it was a conversation, like, oh, me and my homegirl was talking about this yesterday. I'm glad somebody else feel the same way. So for me, I want gratitude to make sure that it's lasting. I think to have a lasting career, you have to have something, you have to have a product, you have to have a byproduct of yourself that is long lasting. And that is where gratitude comes into play. Yeah. I agree with that. Okay. So the last question, for real, I promise. And this is a question that I always have like conflict within myself. And it's because I've had so many open doors for me that I feel that God, like I said, I truly feel that God have like strategically placed me in places, strategically designed avenues and career paths for me to advance me, but also to put me in a position where I'll be impacted by my different roles that I've played. But there are some people that would rather have what you would call open access to power moves. Which do you feel is better? Being able to have an open door, whether it be collaborations, whether it be networking, or to have open access, meaning to have the business with the bow on it?
I would rather the open door. And I'm not even gonna lie to you. I have to actually ask Tiffany what she meant by that, because I've never had anyone to give me anything, so I've never had even the thought process behind that. But I think it'd be best to have the open door, because if you just had like that one person just to listen to hear you out, and they see how serious you are, it's gonna help you get so much further, because it's just like writing a business plan. Yeah. You have to know where to start. So if you were the janitor and the secretary and everything it takes to build that business, then you know what it takes to run a business, versus you having the business with the bow on it, and I'm just walking in. I don't know who has my best interest at heart. I don't know nothing about anybody. I don't know nothing about the business, but I'm just going to go and sit down and reap the benefits from it. But when it crumbles, how do I know what caused it to crumble? Yeah. How can I pick it back up? Yeah. So it's great. It sounds good. Yeah. But what's the point when you don't know really what you're doing? Yeah.
I remember something that you said during your very first appearance on Tiff Talks, when we did Breaking Generational Curse. And you talked about how it's very important to you that your children are along the ride for the process. How they see everything that you put into business, how they see how you've developed this business, how they see how you've grown this business. So with your hard work, with your effort, and being able to see and showcase those things, that they'll have a greater value for. Right. And for me, I've always been the type of person that if I get an open door, if I can just look in the door, like, just let me look in it. If I can look at it, then I can get through it. And I can get open access. Just let me put my toe in. You know, let me see if it's something for me. And that's where I live. Like, I live in a point where as long as I have a way in, I can create the opportunity. And I think a lot that I've taken on at work in my profession and how I've gotten to the point that I am is it was open opportunity. One thing that I'm really big on in my field is being able to give back to new social workers and being able to invest. So I really basically run the internship program at my job. And I got into that place because the person that was there, she, left. And they needed somebody to take on the role. And I was like, well, I don't mind helping. And now, 2 years later, I run the program. So I think for me, as long as I'm giving a way in, then I can create opportunity. And I think that's what we need to look for. We need to look for an opportunity versus open access.
But that goes with the self-gratification.
Yeah.
You want that easy win.
Yeah. Yeah. People want you to see the glory and not the grind.
Right.
And that's where people fall short.
Yeah. And all along there's a few people that stand out significantly. I'll never name any names, but I've learned from them. I don't care too much for them, but I've learned from them the what not to do. Because once you burn those bridges, you can't get that back.
Yeah.
And like I said, it looks great on social media, but they're struggling on the inside as a person.
Wow.
Yeah, so, okay.
Wow.
Let me sip on that.
This was good. I mean, this was good. This was good. I knew it was going to be good, but this was good or did not good stuff. This was good. This was good. Okay. So I know I didn't take the time to shout people out and ask questions. And I'm going to apologize for that now. But I will go back and I will make sure that I look at the comments and address things as well. And I will tag Tenique in so she'll be able to be a part of the conversation as well. So we are closing out. And the last thing that I always ask guests to do is share their testament of today's topic. What is one thing that you want to be sure that any of our viewers take away from this conversation?
In a nutshell, and you make me think on this too, is never be too attached to anything. Make sure you know everything has moving parts. Value everybody that has even touched you in any way. And you have to be willing to let go of the things you had so you can get to the things that you want. And so what I share with my kids sometimes is you can't get to the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow if you're still holding on to the pain that the rain has caused. So there is going to be better days. There's going to be blessings, but you're going to lose people. You're going to win people. Just be ready to let stuff go because you'll never move forward. Like, never. So that's
I like that. Can't get to the pot at the end of the rainbow if you
holding on to the pain that the rain caused.
I like that. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down.
I surely thank you. I love this topic.
It was good. Okay, y'all. Now, I hope you guys have enjoyed today and also took some great notes. If you didn't, this live will remain available for 24 hours. So you can always go back and always replay it. Make sure that you share it. Make sure that you also are commenting in the comment section below. And we will be sure to respond to those comments and questions as well. And we appreciate you for taking the time out to spend this afternoon with us. And we hope that y'all continue to enjoy your day. Thank you for tuning in.